Hello, my name's Brian Walker. I'm the store manager of Store 97 here in Louisville, and we are expediting. We are the birth state of the expediting system, to which will be nationwide.
Coming soon to a store near you.
So we just wanted to show you guys some things about how we're doing it and what's working for us. The first thing we wanted to talk about was sort of the setup of the buy counter. So in olden times, we would be positioned here for the customer to come in, and we would have this counter between us. The biggest part about expediting, the most important thing that we have found, is the expediter needs to be out here. You need to get rid of the counter altogether and be here with the customer as a human being. More on all of the benefits on that later, but this is where you want to be positioned. Open the door for the store, wait for your first customer to come in. I've got two buy stations here. I typically leave that station with my carts for my scanner. And then this station, again, I'm on this side of the counter, and we have our monitors on these great little arms so that they can face either way. So I've got it towards me. We've got everything wireless. We can do everything we need to on this side of the counter. We're able to scan IDs in Kentucky, so it's really important. This is the most important part about getting a customer scanned in, is our scanner and having access to it, as well as the bookseller having access to it on their side. So this is a great position here in our store to welcome the customer. I can clearly see them. Once they're 10 feet away is when I usually try to greet them. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? All customers like a counter to go to, I have found. Even men. Women mostly with their purses, but even men, they like a place to land. They like a place to put their stuff. So if they've just got a couple bags, we have them place it here or on the carts there. We have a moment here, and it's not just, oh, you're selling stuff? Great. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Can you believe this weather? Yada, yada, yada. Again, you're interacting with the customer as a human being, as another person, not on the other side of a counter as an official book buying person who's not going to give you any money. No. We're a human being on this side. We're interacting. I'm going to grab their ID. I try not to turn my back to the customer if I can help it. I'll try to walk a little backwards this way. I like this to be open. Customers love to see this. This is no secret what we're doing here. And customers like to be able to see the interface. It makes them feel like we know what we're doing and it's all official when they can see this. So there's no problem with the customer seeing that, scanning their ID. Customers love finding out that all of their information is on a barcode. Most people don't know that. So that's always a fun little icebreaker. And then give the ID back, and boom, they get to go walk the store. And we start to process the buy here on this side. So expediting is, when I first pitch it to people, I say kitchen. You know, everybody's seen Hell's Kitchen, everybody has seen a cooking show, everybody has been to a restaurant, everybody knows what expediting means. There's somebody in charge. There's somebody that is moving the machine and making it go. So that's the big part of it, is we've got one person now in charge of making this machine go. We've got one person in charge of being the face to the customer, and it's a manager. It's someone who has been with the company for a long time, someone who clearly understands the expectations of customer service with the company. So that's the first part. It's having a customer have an interaction with just one person that is not harried, that is not in the weeds up to their elbows trying to get stuff scanned. My job is to greet the customer, welcome them into the store, and then hope that they go spend money in the store while we're doing their thing. So one of the great benefits in doing this is splitting the workload of the buy. So instead of you alone working the entire buy, getting everything out, scanning everything in, we've split it in half so that now the manager is making the condition calls. They're getting things out of the box or the bag and putting things in stacks, deciding this is good, this is and this is not good at all. And the bookseller then is just scanning that stuff in. They're playing some quality control because we might miss stuff. We miss stuff all the time. So they're going to quality control us and say, hey, did you mean this to go in there? They're also going to be doing our research for us. As we're on this side of the counter interacting with the customers, they're looking up the 1942 first edition Steinbeck or whatever, and doing the diligence for the items that are actually in the buy, making sure that we're giving fair offers. This really cuts down on burnout. This really cuts down on, gosh, I'm on the hour, another hour on the buy counter. It splits the workload in half so that neither employee, the manager or the bookseller, feels overwhelmed really at any part of the day, or feels at the end of their week like if they have to do another buy, they're going to die. Yeah, as anybody knows, on a busy day at the buy counter, the most annoying thing and the thing that keeps our wait times high on a busy day is the fact that we're constantly getting interrupted. If I've got a buyer 1 and a buyer 2 and no expediter, then they're also having to check everybody in as they're coming. They're having to stop every single buy. They're having to F3 it and then scan an ID, F4, bring it all back up. Everybody knows how long that process can take. You're adding 2 to 3 minutes to every single buy that is in queue every time you have to check someone in. And now we don't have to do that. I can have this person continuing to work on this buy as I've got a line of 3 people that I'm checking in. And the person that's been waiting for 20 minutes doesn't have to suffer. They don't have to wait because I'm checking in a bunch of people coming in the door. So the customer has been checked in. I've checked him in over on this side. I've got my scanner over here on this side. They're waiting for me to do my thing with the buy. Basically, I'm going to get the books out and I'm going to make my stacks with like product codes. I'm going to be flipping the books over upside down so that the bookseller can easily scan them. If there are stickers covering the barcode or something like that, I want to try to peel them off quickly as we get them out. And I'm just very quickly doing quality control. I'm looking at the book, making sure there's not any water damage or foxing or anything like that. And I'm making a good scan stack, a manual enter stack, and this is a little water damage, so a no stack. The bookseller is going to begin to scan as soon as I give them the okay. I like to get a stack going for them, so it's not like a lot of booksellers will try to like grab a book as you're putting it on the counter. They want to really be on it. Let them price or do something else until you've got the buy sort of ready to go, or at least enough of it where you're not falling all over each other, doing each other's things. So once I've got everything out on the counter, I'm going to call my scanner up. Oh, barcode's covered. So that goes in a separate stack. We still want to enter those things. We still want to enter that ISBN. We just want to make sure that's in a separate stack just so we don't interrupt their workflow and they can continue to do their thing. Once they've got the offer in, then again, I'm going to be the face of the customer. So I'm going to go and do something else. I'm going to come to this side and I'm going to start to get another buy ready for my scanner. Sometimes we have 2 scanners, sometimes we only need 1, depending on how busy we are. But they're doing their thing. I'm here working another buy, getting it ready. Hey Brian, it's ready. Oh, okay, great. So they tag me, they go back to pricing. I'm going to be the person for the customer. I've already got the rapport with the customer. I greeted the customer. We talked about the weather and talked about their cute bag. I'm going to call the customer back up and I'm going to be the person that's going to give them that offer. One of the best things about expediting is the fall off of irate customers, the fall off of rejected buys.
What do you attribute that to?
There's just something about the personal connection. There's something about, being on this side of the counter, the rapport that you create with the customer. When you welcome them in, try to find a personal thing to touch into. I think it's totally psychological. I think that there's probably something to do with maybe I hope our offers are better. A customer is much less likely, if you've built a good rapport with that customer, even a 2-second, how you doing, good to see you, thanks for coming in, you're on this side of the counter, they're much less likely to pitch a fit. They're much less likely to pick everything apart. And the other great thing is you've got this monitor right here. The monitor is right here with everything itemized out for them. There are no secrets. There's no wizard behind the curtain. They can see everything clearly right here. And I think, again, that has a big deal to do with folks trusting our offers and seeing that the math is all right there. This is a percentage. This is what we can pay for this book. And that goes a long way for the customer going, okay, cool. I appreciate that and understand that. Thank you for showing it to me. You get in the weeds at the buy counter really quickly and you want to keep moving and keep going, the very first thing that falls off is the customer service, especially with the booksellers. They feel like there's 4 buys, 6 buys, 10 buys deep. They've got to get through those buys. If you've got an expediter, they're managing that situation and they're understanding that the first priority of this is the customer and making sure the customer is having a great experience in the store. And they're not cluing into that vibe, because if they come in and see that you're stressed out because they're there, they're not going to want to come back. They're going to say, why did I go there? I just stressed that poor man out to no end. Did you see the look on his face when he saw me walk in the door? We've all been there. We've all been that person that's looked at the door and gone, it's much less likely to happen. It's happened for me a heck of a lot less since this system has been in place. Keep in mind, you did partially do the buy. You got everything out of the bag. So you're going to have a good sense of what's there. You know if it's if it's a fiction buy, you know if it's a hardback mystery buy, you know if there was a lot of great history in there or a lot of nostalgia that had to be looked up. So you as a good expediter should already have an amount in your head. I mean, you get the stuff out on the counter, that's like a $22.50 buy, but the other thing is the quality control on your end. They tag you, okay, Brian, I've got the buy ready. You go take a look at it, call the customer up, and then you go through everything. Well, actually, scratch that. Look through everything first. Ask a question. What is this? I see this scanned red or scanned blue, but we've only paid 50 cents for it. Why did you leave it at 50 cents? It's not going to be as important if you've got a counter full of Grisham. But again, you're going to know what came out of those bags. So you're going to know the buys that are going to require a little bit more diligence. A 50 paperback buy, 20 cents per, is going to be real easy to see, that they did the right thing. It's going to be real easy to explain to a customer, as long as you trust your scanner and they've got the right price points, you are going to have enough information about the buy to be able to communicate to the customer why we paid what we did. And if you're not sure, spend time with the buy before you call the customer up is the most important thing. And then call the customer up and pitch the offer. Yeah, I mean, on a good day, when you are in the zone, the expediting and the counter should be like an assembly line. It should constantly be moving. And you're the person who is adjusting the speed of that assembly line and how fast it's going, so that you've always got someone scanning, and you've never got anybody waiting around. There's never I need a computer, I can't enter this buy. It is much more efficient to have, I believe, an expediter and a scanner on the buy counter than 5 people running around trying to do buys on a busy day. You're tripping over each other, you're waiting for a computer. That never happens with this system because you are constantly managing what is happening. You are scanning now, I'm calling a customer up and giving it. You've just tipped me off for the next customer. I have placed another buy in front of you. There's a constant rotation of movement. And when the scanner isn't scanning, there's always something to price. There's always something for them to go back to do. The most important thing that I have found is you've got to be communicative with your scanner the entire time. This is going to make managers work muscles. A lot of muscles that you're not used to working, which is a good thing, because once you get into the zone and realize how fun it is to boss people around, that's all that expediting is doing, is constantly moving the pieces around the buy counter board, basically. And it feels weird at first. It feels real bossy, and gosh, I'm constantly telling this person what to do. But it works. It works really well. And as long as you're doing it in a respectful way with the bookseller, they appreciate it as well. And it is a team, a real team in motion.
What are some operational benefits that you've been able to get from splitting up the work this way?
One of the biggest one has been increased productivity. We have been able to give our people more time to be on the floor. We have found that the buy counter takes less people to run in this way, and that if I've got 2 scanners scheduled with me and 1 expediter, I'm generally able to let that second scanner go run. As you can see, our buy counter is looking pretty good. Not many boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
A lot
boxes,
of empty cubes.
7 boxes. Our people are having more time to run because when the counter's not busy, the expediter stays put. There's no primary or backup anymore. The primary is the expediter, and you can let your scanners go, build up a big buy, and call them back 15 minutes later as they go to do something. That's one of the biggest things. The second thing is just the drop-off of customer complaints at the buy counter in regards to offers, in regards to not getting attention that they thought they should have. We have to keep in mind this is people's stuff. It's important to them, and on a busy buy day without an expediter, sometimes it's hard to give the respect to that stuff that it really deserves. We have seen a huge drop-off in people leaving our store frustrated with us. The other big thing is just I don't have rejections anymore. I mean, it's very, very rare. The rejections I have now are almost always collectibles that I just cannot put the money in that they want to be able to get out of it. I very rarely ever have book or media rejections at all. Buy times have definitely gone down over the long term. I would say initially they were a little bit higher because we were scanning much more. We were getting used to the system and the process, so it was taking a little bit longer, but as soon as the management team felt comfortable in what we were doing, buy times really started to go down, and like in half. You know, a big buy that would have normally taken 30 to 45 minutes to process is literally now taking 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because we have broken that workload in half, and we're not interrupting that buy constantly as it's getting scanned in. That buy can get scanned in from beginning to end without having to check anybody in on top of that. And that itself, like I said earlier, you're checking in, you're taking 2 minutes every time you check in. You can aggregate that out and imagine how much time you're saving on those big buys, not having to stop them. I mean, that's the reason to do this, in my mind. I think there probably was a fear that are we going to dumb down our booksellers at the buy counter? Are we going to create booksellers that can't do it all anymore? And I say absolutely no. I think I've always been a manager that has believed in leading by example, and I think if you are leading by example, you are showing them the right way to do it. If they are on the counter with you for 2 hours and you're doing it the way that it's supposed to be, if you've got to walk away for 30 minutes, they've got that. They know what the expectation is, and they're going to add that into their repertoire. And it's actually going to make them stronger, being able to see you manage your time with the customers, and how easy and effortless it can be. The other great thing is if you've got a manager, a shift leader, a new shift leader that isn't comfortable managing yet, isn't finding their footing on being a manager and telling people what to do, they won't have that issue after about a month on the buy counter. It really forces managers to flex those muscles and to be okay with managing the people on their shift. And I'll tell you, in the last 6 months, I have seen some of my shift leaders that tended to have more issues with that. It has translated out on the sales floor. They have not only been more active in the sections and communicating, but also in redirecting employees, in breaking up chit-chat corners and that sort of thing. Managing here has made them more comfortable managing everywhere in the store. And that's been a great benefit for sure. The personability is the biggest thing. If you can think about your buy counter or a buy counter on a busy day, the customer comes in, do you have your ID? Are you here to sell? You very rarely hear, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Oh my gosh, I like your shoes, whatever. There's nothing like that. It is, I'm looking up, can I get your ID? You don't even ask if they've been here before. They're like, ID for what? A lot of customers here are elderly. They don't even understand what ID means until you say driver's license. So I think one of the biggest gains has been that personability with the customer. We really try to connect with the customer before we even talk about the buying part of it. We want 100% inventory visibility with the stuff going into the module. At least that's the goal. That's what we would like to have. It's a lot easier to try to get that to happen when the person scanning is not constantly stopping what they're doing, looking up and do you have an ID? Can I have your ID? They get to continue doing what they're doing, the diligence on the stuff in front of them, and the expediter's able to do the diligence with the customer and get that rapport going so that when they do come back up, not that we're going to cheat them, not that we're going to give them a lowball offer, but they're so much more likely to take that offer when you've already got a good rapport with them than not. Then if they've come in, you've acted like they are an annoyance, they are an impediment to you doing your work. Do you have an ID? I mean, you're just creating ill will so that you are asking for when they come up for that $5 paperback buy for them to just lash out at you because you've asked for it. That's what you've given them, the energy that you've given them when they've come in. That is completely and totally gone. And again, the bookseller gets to focus on trying to get 100% of that counter scanned into that module and not worry about the customers. Expediting is awesome. That's what I have to say about expediting. You will see a decrease in burnout at the buy counter. You will see an increase in accountability for your managers. You will see an increase in being connected to the customers that are actually walking into your store, and you will see a better diligence done with the product that is coming into the building. It's not easy at first. You're working muscles that we're not used to working here, but once the expectations are down and the bookseller and the expediter understands what they're supposed to be doing, the person with the most experience handling the customer and giving them the experience that they deserve when they come into the store. So, I mean, this is just a basic rundown of what we've been doing. And as you all know, when that door opens, everything changes. And this is not a strict system that has to be in place. And we mutate it daily depending on what's going on. And that's the great thing about expediting, is you've got a system in place, and when that 12 cart buy comes in, you're going to have to tweak that system a little bit. And it's fine. You roll with it, and you roll with the punches. So this is an experiment that Tori started with this district at the beginning of the year. We've been having great success with it, and we hope to see it implemented in other stores. We hope to hear a conversation and hear from other stores about what experiences you're having, and things that you like or don't like about it.
And thank you for listening to our explainer on expediting.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for listening, and thank you for your attention. And we hope to hear from you and some input.